Do you think you need a gym to get in shape? You don't. Today, we're gonna go over the top 20 bodyweight exercises you can start doing today at home. All right, first exercise we're gonna go over is a push-up. And guys, push-ups are hard. Zach's gonna go ahead and show us. You start in a high plank, right? Hands are right underneath your shoulders, feet are about hip width, maybe a little bit closer, and really think about the core being engaged first, right? So pulling belly button in, squeezing glutes, squeezing quads to make sure you're in that nice stable plank first, and then starting to bend your elbows, lowering yourself down, all the way down, getting that deep stretch at the bottom, pushing all the way back up. Nice part about a push-up is it can be advanced, right? You could add some power, some explosiveness to it, or it can be regressed, going from your knees, or maybe hands on a bench, hands on a chair, however you can do it. Push-ups, great exercise for the upper body. Body weight, that's all you need. Next up, we got a high plank shoulder tap. So starting in that push-up position, right, hands stacked right underneath the shoulders, just like the push-up, and it's a plank first, right? So just like the push-up, core's engaged, everything's engaged first, and all we're really doing is adding movement to the plank. So you go right hand to left shoulder, left hand to right shoulder, arms are moving, but the exercise is really as little as the rest of the body's moving, right? So minimizing that wobble side to side, not letting the hips shake, because that's what's really working the abs, right? Yes, the arms are moving and you're working that shoulder, but we're mostly trying to get abs out of this one, trying to get a core exercise out of this one. High plank shoulder tap, again, can be regressed to the knees, make it a little bit easier, give you a little bit less of your body weight. Great core exercise. Next up, we got dips. So we do need a chair for this one, or a bench, whatever you have, but hands are stacked right underneath your shoulders. That's the common mistake, most common mistake I see with people doing dips, is they end up way too far away, and that's putting a lot of tension right on the front of the shoulders. So you want that butt to stay nice and close to the bench. Knees can be at 90 degrees, that's gonna be the easiest option, and then legs straight is going to make it a little bit harder, giving you more of your body weight. And then from there, you're bending your elbows as low as you can get, trying to get that deep stretch in the tricep, and then driving back up, getting a good squeeze at the top. Another way to challenge this one is to change the tempo, right? So if you start going really slow, a little more time under tension, making it a little bit harder, maybe 3 seconds on the way down, a little pause, you could also maybe add a little explosiveness back up to add a little challenge. Give it a shot, guys. Dips, great one. Next up, we got an inchworm, a great mobility exercise, body weight again. So common mistake we see right from the start is you initiate it by rounding instead of initiating with hip mobility. So thinking deadlift, hinge from the hips, walking all the way out, you finish in that high plank, you walk back in. Same thing on the walk back in, right? So Zach's gonna go out again, pause, initiate it with the hips, going back up. Again, you could add a progression by adding that push-up we talked about earlier at the bottom, maybe a kneeling push-up, and then walking all the way back in. Great mobility exercise. Again, all you need is yourself.
The next exercise is a squat. Very fundamental human movement. So as we see here, Brady's gonna start with his feet roughly hips width distance. You start by sitting back, acting like you're sitting in a chair, and then you come up. You can make this easier by simply not going as far down. A lot of you might lack the mobility, the ankle mobility, the hip mobility, so just start by going down slightly and then coming up. Big mistake, go ahead and turn and face the camera for a moment, is letting your knees collapse in. So that's a big problem. You really don't want to do that. You want to drive your knees out and then come up. Another big one is go ahead and turn over to the side again, is actually letting your back round as you go down and then back up. Don't do that. Keep your spine nice and tall. A way you can make this harder is simply by adding a little explosiveness, a little jump. Squats, you can take squats in so many different directions, very fundamental movement. That's the squat. Lunges, in my opinion, the most foundational exercise because it relates to how you walk. So the way that we lunge, the most beginner version is simply to take that step forward, make sure you find your balance, and then you just come down and then come up. You inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up. Big problem that I see people doing. One of them is they let their heel come up as they go down. That's actually not too much of a problem, but if you're not doing it intentionally, it is. An even bigger problem, go ahead and face the camera. This is gonna destroy your knees, letting your knee collapse in. Over time, you're really gonna strain that internal knee, cause all types of problems. This is the most beginner lunge. Now you can take this up in so many ways. You can simply add a step to it, step back, and then step forward and switch legs. You can even make it a little more explosive and just do a jumping lunge. If you're doing that, make sure that knee's not collapsing in. Lunges, I love lunges, you should do them, yeah. Glute bridges, amazing exercise at developing the glutes, which give you that lower body power. You simply start on your back, knees bent. Big problem that I see people doing, and this is huge, is your starting position. A good way to know if you're starting correctly is to see if you can slide your hand under your low back. If you can, there's too much room there, you gotta engage your deep core, press the low back into the ground, tuck your tailbone, that's starting position. From here, it's simple. You take a breath in, exhale, dig down into the heels, lift the hips, keep that tailbone tucked, and then back down. Make sure that you're not losing that pressure on the ground with your low back. Inhale down, exhale up, really driving with the hips. There's so many ways you can make this harder. One is by simply elevating the leg, doing a one-legged glute bridge, and then back down, and up, and then down. Go ahead and come back to neutral. Another way is simply to do walkouts. So glute bridge, walk your feet out. There you go, keep the hips lifted, and then walk it back. That's gonna get the hamstrings and the glutes to work together. Glute bridges, they're great. Just make sure you're pressing your low back into the ground, engaging that deep core before you get it. Calf raises, very simple exercise to build these calves. If you're a beginner, I really suggest you use a chair or something to balance. It's simple, you take a breath in and on your exhale, you simply lift your legs. Go down slow and then come up. Really focusing on engaging them, getting that squeeze. So when you get to the top, hold it and squeeze, and then down. You can make this easier or harder simply by doing one leg. Squeeze and then down, up and then down. Very simple exercise. Calf raises.
Next up, we got the plank, a super important core exercise to make sure that your core is gonna be activated in the rest of your exercises. So Zach here is in that elbow plank, that low plank. Elbows are stacked right below the shoulders. You really wanna make sure that those hips are staying in neutral, right? Really common mistake we see is the hips are dropping too low because the core isn't strong enough, or the hips are too high because maybe the shoulders aren't strong enough. So again, body's in a straight line from ear to shoulder to hip to ankle, all the way down. You can regress this by dropping to your knees, giving yourself a little bit less of your body weight. Super important exercise. Make sure you're hitting your planks. Yodelay-hee-hoo. All right, we're gonna climb a mountain. So Zach is set up in this high plank, hands right under shoulders. Make sure you're stable in that plank first. Couple different options here. So you're gonna draw one knee into your chest, nice and slow, switching sides. This is gonna be more of an ab-focused exercise, or you can get abs and add a little cardio by adding that mid-air switch, making sure though, hands stay put. You don't end up drifting back. That's a common mistake. Your hands stay put. You can also add a little mobility by pausing, mid-air switch, jumping side to side, add a challenge to that mobility while still getting the strength of your abs. Mountain climbers, so many different ways to do it. Make sure you're getting them in. Next up, we got bicycle crunches. Starting hands behind the ears, making sure that you're really focusing on the rotation of this exercise. So elbow goes to knee, but also this other elbow going towards the floor or towards the wall behind you, making sure full rotation. So common mistake we see is people going way too fast, staying way too tight because they're just trying to finish. Instead, your goal is to get the most out of the exercise, right? It doesn't matter how many you do, it matters how good your abs look when you're done. So making sure really focusing on that rotation, leg kicking out, full extension, get your bicycles in. Next up, another great exercise to work the obliques. We're gonna go over Russian twists. So making sure that you're getting full rotation, couple progressions, regressions. So if your heels are down, it's gonna be a little bit easier. Making sure you're getting full rotation. If you wanna try the challenge, legs come off, making sure you still don't end up wobbling too much side to side, right? You're trying to stay stable, still getting that full rotation, again, all the way down, all the way across. Most common mistake we see with this Russian twist is rounding, right? You want to try to pull your low back out of your spine, good posture as you're rotating, making sure you're getting the most out of these exercises. He was like, I wasn't ready for my dismount.
The burpee, sometimes called the ultimate body weight exercise. So I'll have Brady do a regular traditional burpee where you come down, you jump back, do a push-up, and then you jump up. This is a regular burpee that we should all strive to do, but if not, we can make it easier by simply coming down, stepping back, not doing the push-up, and not doing the jump. So this is for you that are just wanting to work your way up to be able to do a full burpee. Go ahead and do one more full burpee. Jump back, push up, and up. Burpees, baby. Jumping jacks. We all did them in elementary school. They're a great way to warm up for your workout or just get that heart pumping. Great cardio workout you can do anywhere. So it's simple. Your legs step out as your arms go up at the same time and then they come back together. And you try to stay light on the feet. And if you're doing this as a warm-up, try to nasal breathe throughout. So keep the mouth closed, nasal breathe, get that oxygen in. That's a jumping jack. They're simple, they're great, you can do them anywhere. Yeah. High knees, another great cardio exercise you could do anywhere. Great to include in your warm-up, get that heart rate up. First is the beginner version, where you simply just step and you see the arms are moving just like you would run. So as that right knee comes up, left hand comes forward. To progress it, it's more of a running in place. Again, trying to breathe through your nose in and out. Running man or running woman. Sun salutation, a staple of yoga and actually the precursor to the burpee. But we want to focus more on moving with the breath and getting that mindfulness component of yoga in this as well. So I'll guide you through it. You start in mountain pose, palms face forward. On your inhale, you reach the arms up. On your exhale, you're folding forward, hinging at the hips. All the way, and then you inhale, come up halfway, so hands to shins, flat back. On your exhale, you step your hands forward, coming into like a push-up position or a high plank. Chaturanga. You're not flaring the elbows out, so you want your elbows towards your ribs as you come forward on the toes first, and then come down. Your knees can come down for a beginner version. Then you push into the hands, come up into upward facing dog. Don't focus too much on your back if it hurts. And then from here, you hinge back into downward dog. Downward dog, your chest is going towards your thighs, lifting the hips up. From here, you can either step or float the feet in between the hands. So I'll have him, and then inhale, come up halfway, hands to shins, exhale, fold. And then inhale, you come all the way up, sweep the arms up, and then exhale, hands down. So that's one, I'll just guide them through one more. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, hands down into that high plank position. And then inhale, come forward on the toes. Exhale, lower halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward dog. And then inhale, and on your exhale, step or float the feet in between the hands. Inhale halfway, exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up, palms meet, exhale, hands to heart. That's the sun salutation. Namaste. Leg swings, a great dynamic warm-up you should be doing to get your body primed for your leg day. So you wanna get a sturdy object like a chair or a wall to start. And it's simple. You're gonna swing your leg forward and swing your leg back. Starting slow, and then as the tissues get warmed up, you can go a little bit faster, a little bit more trying to get that leg up and leg back as far as you can without pulling anything, so be gentle to start. If you wanna make it harder, you can let go of the sturdy object and actually try to kick your hand. So a little bit more of a balance component. Great way to warm up the hips, great way to warm up the hamstrings, the hip flexors. Let's get it.
Next up is arm circles. Super great warm up before any upper body day, chest or back. You wanna start by going super small. You could be forward or back, either way. We're gonna do 10 to 15 reps each direction. So again, you're starting small. Gradually, as those shoulders get warm, you're increasing the range of motion to increase the mobility if you have the mobility. If you need to start small and stay small for now, you can. But arm circles, make sure you're hitting them before any upper body day. Great bodyweight warm-up. Next up, we got hip circles. Another great bodyweight warm-up to hit before any lower body day. So again, just like the arm circles, we wanna start small, clockwise or counterclockwise. And then as you have the mobility, as you feel ready, warmed up, slowly increasing that range of motion. This is gonna be great for the hip flexors, also gonna open up some of that lower back, again, before any lower body strength day. Single leg deadlifts, a great balance and mobility exercise, but also potentially a strength exercise if your balance isn't so good. So we're gonna make sure we have a soft bend on that front knee. We're hinging from the hips as we go back. A common mistake that I see in a lot of people is they try to think about getting your hands to the ground and then end up rounding, right? Posture is number one. So spine stays nice and flat. You're hinging as you go back. This is a hip-focused exercise, waking up that hamstring, squeezing that glute at the top. A regression, you could have your leg bent as you're going. And you can even keep it on the ground for a little B stance deadlift. Either way, again, progression, regression, great bodyweight exercise, single leg deadlifts. That's a wrap. Bodyweight exercises are a great way to get fit from home, right? It takes out that excuse of, I need a gym, I need weights. All you need is yourself and these 20 exercises to get in the best shape of your life.